A record number of over 1,600 canoeists will rise to the challenge of the Dusi Canoe Marathon on Thursday morning. Traditionally known as the Dusi, this great test of endurance has grown into what is claimed as the largest canoe marathon in the world, with a variety of big water, long portages, and more flat water. This tortuous event down the Dusi and into the Umgeni River from Pietermaritzburg to Durban will bring out the cream among competitors, varying from runners, through all-rounders, purist canoeists, and ultramen in contention for the Voltaren Ultraman competition. Ravaged by the floods of 1987, the course of the two rivers has altered. Where large rapids once raced the pulse of paddlers, sandbanks are now in evidence to create a different sort of hazard. And of course, the discomfort, the urgency, and the searing heat. Now imagine running down here with your canoe. You've got the pressure of the people behind you. You could have up to 1,000 paddlers behind you, everybody impatient to get down and out of the valley again. And when you're doing your doubles running, you feel as if your own partner is pushing you down here. As if this gate is not narrow enough, can you imagine taking a canoe through here? And this year, especially a double. Remember that this year's Dusi is a doubles race. We're standing in the Devil's Cauldron area of the Guinea Fowl Portage on the first day. And it's here that last year the big controversy arose. People had to queue up to get through this and then go across behind me, up that next hill, and then back down to the river. It's a difficult area. And this year, the organizers have made the concession that you can shoot the so-called Cascades area. A very difficult area to shoot, and my own advice would be, take it easy, enjoy this section of the race. Don't get too worried about queuing up, but make sure that you do get through without using up too much energy. And the good news is that that fence has been removed. Water is flowing strongly over the slide and into Ibis Point, which leaves very little choice for the lesser experienced paddlers, who should portage around these obstacles. And still, many of the top competitors, including Graham Pope Ellis, choose to portage on the right bank down Willem's Chute. But John Edmonds has shot it on the right and stayed upright in his boat. Regrettably, the good rains experienced at the start of the summer have not been sustained, but the catchment dams are swelling. However, a word of warning to those people who haven't seen this section. A dangerous weir has been built downstream of Ibis, and it's recommended that anyone with intentions of completing the race should portage around the obstacle. The end of the second day's racing will herald a completely new dimension. The Inanda Dam, now over 3/4 full, stretches back to Bush Weir and will really identify just who are the strongest paddlers in the race. And to make matters worse, the race organizers have been advised not to establish a refreshment point at the top of the notorious Burma Road. Competitors not drinking at the start of the portage run the risk of dehydration on the final leg to Durban. The disturbances which have marred the tranquility of the Umgeni Valley have been causing concern to authorities and paddlers alike.
Well, we've been down and we have had no problem whatsoever. In fact, I even attended a braai with a few of the chiefs down there, and one of the chiefs said to me himself personally, his words were, "I would like you to apologize for any inconvenience we've caused the canoeists." So that is a good sign in itself. And we canoeists have done an awful lot for the non-whites in the valley. We've helped in building schools and helped in the agricultural side. And so I think that we need them, they need us.
And so to the race. Last year we saw the exciting tussle between Pope Ellis and the younger John Edmonds. This year the Edmonds brothers, John and Andrew, have teamed up. And the Pope will be paddling with Tim Cornish, the man who helped him to his doubles victory in 1988. But what predictions for 1990?
Well, I think that it's actually, I tend to favor Mark Perro and Mark Jamison. I think they've got the ability. They've had a lot of bad luck in previous years. They must have learned by now. And they've got the speed in the water. They can run. They say they can't, but they can run. They can both run very, very well. And one mustn't overlook people like Kevin White and Gavin Tarr. They're also very good at both running and paddling. They know the river very well. Edmonds, and Edmonds will be extremely good on land.
So all eyes then on the Edmonds brothers, dark horses or the heroes of the 1990 Hansa Dusi.
Wel, dit behoort 'n baie interessante Hansa Dusi Canoe marathon te wees wat ons vir jaar gaan sien. Sterkte ook aan Gerald wat self daar gaan wees. Daar's maar baie manne wat die 250
spoke today. But problems for the Edmonds brothers who finished second. John has injured his shoulder and is a doubtful starter for tomorrow's stage. Evan Engelbrecht reports.
Conditions on the Dusi River today were more difficult than they had been in many years. This you can believe because Dusi legend Graham Pope Ellis admitted to having had a hard time. At the start of the race at Kampsdrift Canal in Pietermaritzburg, the water level allowed for fair paddling. The first weir, about a kilometre downstream, even had enough water to overturn a number of early starters. At the first portage point, Gavin Tarr and Kevin White were in the lead, followed by John and Andrew Edmonds and Pope Ellis and Cornish. At Cabbage Tree, Pope Ellis and Cornish took the lead and held it, crossing the finishing line in 3 hours, 23 minutes and 1 second, which was 8 minutes and 13 seconds faster than the Edmonds brothers, who logged a time of 3 hours, 31 minutes and 14 seconds.
The portages weren't too bad because you get yourself into a momentum and you can get into a nice rhythm. But where it is very difficult is when you get back into the river where the compulsory canoeing sections are, it's so low. You take 20 or 30 strokes and you have to climb out and take 3 or 4 strides to get back into the main stream again. You just get into the main little channel and the channel runs out onto a sandbank again. So you're getting in and out of your boat and that really taps it out of you. And you can't get a full stroke with your paddle. The paddle's only just scraping the water because it's so shallow. So you can't get a decent pull. So the conditions were very hard going, particularly towards the end.
How on earth does Pope Ellis keep going?
More water in the dam and in the river, of course. And, of course, paddlers still coming in as we talk to you right now. Well, a pair of paddlers who came in very early this morning. They set off early and they came in early, once again leading the way and leading by some 8 minutes. Graham Pope Ellis and Tim Cornish. Tim, John Edmonds and Andrew Edmonds pulled out this morning after John injured his shoulder. That must have given you a bit of a lift when you set off this morning.
Yes, I think we were about 8 minutes ahead with them in the race, but with them pulling out, it put us about 13 minutes ahead. But although that was a lift, it's a shame that they had to pull out. And they were giving us a real neck-and-neck tussle until shortly before the finish yesterday, and it's a pity for them that they've had to withdraw.
Graham, Bruce Wenker and Les Kay made up ground on you, some 4 or 5 minutes. You're obviously worried still about them.
Yes, we are. They never give up. They're going to probably paddle around Burma Road tomorrow, and we're going to be going over Burma Road.
Any new paths that you've discovered?
No, nothing new at all, no.
Graham, the Inanda Dam has certainly added a new dimension to this year's Dusi, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Actually, over the years, I've seen the race change incredibly so. And today we had about 48 minutes or so of paddling on the dam towards the end of the event, and it was really hard going.
Good lead, 8 minutes. Can you keep it up?
If we don't have any mishaps, it'll be difficult for them to catch that up, yes.
Graham Pope Ellis, Tim Cornish, very good luck for tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
There you have the race leaders, and let's hope that they can indeed maintain that lead, but let's hope that we do have some competition for them as well. Well, in a totally different category, in the mixed category, we have a man who's synonymous almost with Dusi, and a successful Dusi paddler over the years, and a Springbok of great reputation. Rory Pennyfather, paddling with your wife Jane, was that a decision taken easily?
Yes, it was quite. We've been wanting to paddle together for a long time, and our training went rather well, and so we thought this was the year to get together and do it together again.
Have you had a good race? Obviously yesterday was a bit dry for you though.
Yes, it has been dry, but we've had a good race. Despite the very hard conditions, things have been going our way, apart from feeling exhausted at times, but then I think that's something that everyone's been feeling. So by and large, we've had a very good race, yes.
Jane, did you go into this little venture happily and agreeably?
Yes, I did. I also decided that I was somewhat tired of seconding, so I decided this was the year that I should paddle.
Very, very hot this year, isn't it?
excessively hot. I nearly collapsed on Cabbage Tree. I found it unbearable, but I've enjoyed it.
Looking ahead to the final leg, Burma Road and the like coming up, and a good stretch on Inanda Dam.
Yes, I don't know if I can say I'm looking forward to it, but it should be an interesting day, and we'll be trying to maintain our leads and taking as few chances as possible.
Rory Pennyfather and Jane, very good luck on the final day.
Thank you.
Right, we continue with our little program here with some rather sad news because, as you may know by now, we did have a tragedy on the Dusi yesterday when one of the veteran and well-known paddlers unfortunately had a heart attack on one of the portages and died. One of the race organisers, Robbie Stewart, has a few more details.
Yes, Ian Green unfortunately had a heart attack and died on Guinea Fowl Portage yesterday, which is very sad. He was a popular paddler. He'd done 2 comrades. It was his second Dusi. And very sad when a chap goes, he might have been out, we think, enjoying himself, but it's just such a tragedy when that happens.
For Dusi, looking ahead to the future, are there things that could be done to help in this sort of situation?
Yes, we're going to, whenever this happens, the South African Canoe Federation and the race organisers do a full investigation, but it seems so far that there wasn't anything that we could have done, but we will be looking at our communications, our backup services, just to make sure that we can do everything possible in this sort of situation.
Robbie Stewart, thanks very much. Well, on we go now to a few of the characters on the race. You may see in front of us here one of the boats that's really struggled through this year's and today's event, in fact. Well, many of these paddlers behind us have worked their way through today's stage, and it has been very, very difficult. You two, I know, had a few problems. You wrapped, where was it?
It was about an hour before mission yesterday.
And you've paddled through to today?
Only just. We got it in about 7 hours, 50 minutes.
How was this final stretch on the Inanda Dam?
That was pretty rough. We tried to patch the boat last night, and it was taking a lot of water. So we had to stop about every K and empty it. And then we got to this last about 10, 15 Ks, waves about a foot high. It was really rough, but we made it.
And about the same tomorrow?
If we've come this far, we're going to finish it, that's for sure.
Thanks very much. That sounds like the Dusi spirit. Well, that ends our little feature here on the banks of the Inanda Dam. Tomorrow morning, race starts at 6:30. Graham Pope Ellis and Tim Cornish will be setting off at that time, 8 minutes ahead of Bruce Wenker and Les Kay. It's going to be a battle. Could be close, so stay tuned. We'll be with you tomorrow just after 2 o'clock on Top Sport from the Inanda Dam.
Daar was drama met die aanvang van die tweede skof van die Hansa Dusi. Eers het John Edmonds toe in die tweede plek om aan die wedvaart onttrek vanweë 'n beseerde skouer. Toe die nuus gekom dat die Dusi sy eerste slagoffer geëis het. Die 41-jarige meneer Ian Green van Johannesburg het 'n hartaanval gehad en gesterf tydens gister se eerste skof. Ondanks die demper op die verrigtinge het Graham Pope Ellis en Tim Cornish hul voortou gehandhaaf en die skof in 2 uur 57 minute en 17 sekondes voltooi, sowat 5 minute voor Bruce Wenker en Les Kay. Dit gee Pope Ellis en Cornish 'n totaal van 6 uur 20 minute en 18 sekondes.
1990, and what a race it has been with the Dusi King once again not disappointing. As you see, the paddlers still coming in. These are the 4th place pair of Ken Reynolds and Mark Conway. But up ahead of them, it was the Dusi King who came home on top. Well, the first craft we see coming under the Athlone Bridge was indeed Graham Pope Ellis and Tim Cornish. The king of the Dusi has done it yet again. For him, the 15th time. And his teammate Tim Cornish, together again, they won this as a doubles team 2 years ago when it was last race as a doubles race. And here they are, putting it over the young chaps once again. And they've done a very fine time today, it seems, because the water was much higher. They had a good paddle on the Inanda Dam and a very fine run, it seems, over Burma Road. And here we have Graham Pope Ellis and Tim Cornish winning this year's Hansa Dusi Canoe Marathon. When you set off at the start on the first day, did you really believe you'd be here again?
No. We thought we had a chance, but not such a big lead like this.
Again, the youngsters not coming through to chase you. Obviously a disappointment the Edmonds is not pushing.
Yes, very disappointment. It would have been, well, disappointed in one way. I mean, I'm getting a bit old for this pressure, but a disappointment, yes, because it would have made the race much more exciting.
What about the last day, Tim? Obviously you weren't going to do anything foolish, just keep going smoothly.
We went fairly hard in the beginning and we pushed hard over Burma Road. But on the way up Burma Road, we came across a snake. And there was nowhere to go on either side, and Graham shouted that there was a snake. Hey, I nearly ran down Burma Road. But fortunately, it just froze and stood still, and we managed to step around it.
And then the final paddle through, Graham, no problem.
No problem at all, no.
The nature of the race, we've talked about it, has changed over the years dramatically, and you must have noticed that especially.
Yes, we have, very, very much so. Even the rapids have changed. It's a lot more open than what it used to be, a lot more spectators, a lot more second-in points, very much more exciting for the spectators.
Indeed, it could make it more exciting, and it has made it more exciting, because in second place, Bruce Wenker and Les Kay made up a lot of time today. They started way behind, over 8 minutes behind, and they finished up just 4 minutes and 31 seconds behind that winning time of Graham Pope Ellis and Tim Cornish of 8:43.32. Wenker and Kay again second place to these Cornish and Pope Ellis in their time 8:48.03.
Well, we gave it our best shot, and the old man still beat us.
What is it about him? You know, he's got something there, isn't he? What, can you beat him?
I'm sure we can beat him. It's just that first day. He's just got something on that second half of the first day. He's a machine.
What about today's leg, Les? Hard work going over Burma?
No, we worked hard on Burma, but we had a really good run over there, so I'm very pleased with the way it went.
Certainly the weather conditions were conducive to quick day.
Yeah, for us, they're lovely. In the back of the field, they're going to be smiling even more than we are.
You were looking for a fast time today. Were you happy with what you did?
Very happy with our time. We're just going to see what the other boats do, see whether anybody beats us or not.
Les Kay and his teammate Bruce Wenker, very talented paddlers indeed, and they finished in 8:48.03. Third place were Gavin Tarr and Kevin White. Fancy team as well. They had a very good first day, and they finished today's stage in 2:22.48 for an overall time of 8:56.52, some 8 minutes and 49 seconds behind Wenker and Kay. Very fancied pair was that of Mark Jamison and Mark Perro, but they had disaster on the first day when a rudder broke and they had dropped way back the field, in fact finishing the first day in 27th place. However, they had a very fine third and second day, and indeed today Mark Perro and Mark Jamison finished inside the top 10 after a terrific paddle.
Yeah, we went well on the dam, we took it easy, we ran the portage hard because we knew that was the only one we had left. Just below going through Tops Needle, I tore my splash cover, and we stopped at Burma Road. John Edmonds gave us another one, and then we went through and we shot all the rapids, shot Island, and I think we've maybe pulled up a minute by going round, and then we enjoyed the last pull into Durban. We made up a lot of ground here.
You must look back on that first day trouble with a great deal of regret.
Yeah, I still can't believe it. 2 years, I've done it twice, and both years it's been rudder problems and freak accidents.
Very talented national serviceman Mark Perro, who's looking for better luck with his partner Mark Jamison next year. So the paddlers started coming in droves, and these are the men who were coming in, say, an hour to an hour and a half after the leading pair of Graham Pope Ellis and Tim Cornish. These are top-class paddlers, but this is the nature of this river and this event. Very, very tough indeed. And there is Rory Pennyfather and his wife Jane, who are the leading mixed doubles pair, and they have had a very fine doozy to come home finishing in the first place in the mixed doubles pair. This race, of course, not only about success and triumph and enjoyment, it's also about battling through the pain barrier, and some of these paddlers, some of them walking comfortably out the water, others having to really hobble after some rather nasty accidents through this difficult race. And this young gentleman really had his fair share of injuries.
I fell yesterday. Canoe stuck me on the rocks. Now, legs can't come out, just take about 10 minutes to get up.
But did you enjoy the race?
Too much, I enjoyed it, too much, yeah.
Is it your first doozy?
No, it's 5 times now. Yeah, it's 5 times now.
Well done, I hope the leg repairs quickly.
Yeah, thanks.
True doozy spirit from Robert Mbeti. Here the first ladies doubles pair, the sisters Marlene Lowenstein in front and Jenny Bentle, who had a good race but a difficult first day they'd had.
We had a very bad first day. We snapped a paddle and had no steering for most of the way, but for the second and third day was fantastic with no problems.
You get a lot of encouragement, a lot of chatter from the men?
Yeah, I'd say the majority of them are very nice and very helpful.
Some of them don't take too kindly to you going past them.
No, not really.
Be back again in singles next year?
I'll definitely be back, yeah. I'll think about it.
Some of the early finishes, and that, after all, is what it's all about. But of course, a lot of hard work goes into finishing, and we'll be showing you, after the break, some of the action up the river.